Eyewitness News, 11 at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Brennan Robinson.
And I'm Yvette Martinez. Beer sales are foaming over into a heated legal and moral battle in Lenoir City. The Grace Fellowship Assembly of God won the first round, but beer is still ringing up the sales. Scott Withers explains.
This is Scott Withers, 6 Eyewitness News.
Food City and the Beer Board are expected to announce their decision on an appeal within the next 2 weeks. Last year, a pizza place on the UT campus had to fight to sell beer there. That's because a church says they're too close to where people worship, violating a city law that requires 500 feet between a church and beer sales. In August 1999, Trio's Pizza gets a beer permit. Then 1 month later, it's taken away. The next month, the Beer Board gives it back, but the church kept complaining. The restaurant argues that Tyson House is not a real church, so Trio's got a new license from the state. It overrides local restrictions, and the pizza place still sells beer.
A Cleveland, Tennessee man shot early this morning is in the Knox County Jail without bond. A state trooper tried to stop a speeding car around 1 this morning. He chased 27-year-old Anthony Grimes Jr. from McMinn County up I-75 through Monroe and Loudoun County to Knox. He got off the interstate at Level Road and ran into a tree. Troopers say the man threatened the officer and ended up getting shot in the shoulder. He was treated at UT. Grimes was out of jail on parole. He now faces a half dozen more charges: reckless endangerment, aggravated assault, resisting arrest, driving on a revoked license, DUI, and felony fleeing. A car wreck in Blount County killed a Walland woman this evening. It happened on Morganton Road, just outside the city limits of Maryville. Officials say she was apparently going too fast and slid on the wet road. The driver of the car she hit, coming the other way, was treated and released. We do have a crew on the scene. We'll have more on Good Morning Tennessee.
And in Sevier County, an armed robbery suspect is dead after falling off a cliff. Sevierville police say he was one of 2 people who robbed an IHOP employee making a bank drop early this morning. Police found one of the suspects at a Pigeon Forge hotel. The other, 18-year-old Philip Miranda, fell off a 50-foot ledge on a Vulcan materials site. Police charged 4 others in connection with the robbery. They're each held on a $50,000 bond.
Up the road at Dollywood, it was a special day for the hearing impaired. 50 sign language interpreters took part in Dollywood's 8th annual Deaf Awareness Day. They signed the words of shows and other attractions so the hearing impaired could get more out of them. The signers are students and instructors from local sign language programs. New at 11, a very faithful volunteer in the community is taking some deserved time off. Nan Gray has given herself to the Knoxville Food Co-op for over 10 years. That co-op works to give food to Knoxville's poor and hungry. The mayor's office publicly recognized Nan Gray with a proclamation for her service. Gray says today was a lot bigger than she expected.
Well, it's actually overwhelming. I had no idea that something like this was going to happen. I was expecting just a few people to come out and have some dancing, so this is way more than I ever dreamt.
Gray says she has not decided what's in her future, but she says she will take some time to rest.
And children first.
A storm in the Midwest turned deadly this weekend. 2 13-year-old boys were rollerblading last night when the storm hit southern Ohio. Search and rescue teams looked for them all night, but unfortunately, a search dog found the boys' bodies. Apparently, the storm washed them into a retention pond. Tragic situation, a reminder to be alert when storms are around.
Oh, most definitely. But here our rain has not been that severe. And Bob Becker is joining us now from the Weather Lab to tell us we've just had some continuous raindrops, but nothing that strong.
No, we've had no severe weather at all this evening. We've just had the ground saying, bring on the rain, because it's certainly been dry, and we're certainly grateful for the rain we're getting. At least for tonight, though, things have quieted down. We did have different amounts of rain across the area, and you can see on the satellite picture that we do still have quite a bit of cloud cover, and we do have more cloud cover, which will be coming our way. And temperatures right now are holding pretty much in the upper 60s to the low 70s. So a bit of a break tonight with just some cloudy skies, but there will be some more rain coming back into the area. And when I come back in a few minutes with your 6-day forecast, I'll tell you when the next round of rain may arrive.
All right, thank you, Bob. Well, the Tennessee Titans needed a last-minute drive to win today.
And coming from an unexpected hero, Scott Finley has the story in our quick check of sports.
Well, this is shades of Kirk Gibson for the Dodgers in the World Series. The Titans getting banged up today at quarterback and looking to their injured starter to save the day. Steve McNair having to come in for Neil O'Donnell late in the game. That sternum still bruised, but not enough to keep him from throwing touchdown pass right there and leading the Titans to the win.
Steve understands offense. Steve's best when he's in those 2-minute situations. He had really nothing to lose here other than the game, so there wasn't like there's any pressure on him.
Of course, he's only kidding. McNair leading the comeback to beat the Steelers. We'll have more later in sports. Also, it was ugly today down in Big D as the 49ers try to take over the Cowboys' house. We'll show you that, as well as the latest college football polls. And yes, the Vols are moving up. And Dover domination. That was the way it was today on the NASCAR circuit. Guys, we'll see you with all that in a little bit.
Thanks a lot, Scott. And that's 11 minutes of nonstop news, weather, and sports. But still ahead, it's already snowing in one part of the country. We'll tell you where after the break.
Plus, there he goes again. Ronald Reagan in Knoxville. It's tonight's time capsule. But first, the rest of our forecast.
Up again. So we're making everybody happy. If it's too dry, we've got the rain. And if it's some great fall weather you wanted, we've got that too. So.
And if you want snow, go to Denver.
Go to Denver quickly, because it's going to be in the 60s by Tuesday.
All right. Thanks a lot, Bob.
Right.
It's time now to break out with this week's time capsule, where we focus on events that happened in East Tennessee exactly 20 years ago.
Yeah, barely 6 weeks before the presidential election in 1980, Republican nominee Ronald Reagan came to town. And this is what Channel 6 viewers saw.
They were waiting to see and hear Ronald Reagan. He didn't keep them waiting very long. And as he stood in the shadows of the TVA towers, his early words were about energy.
The Tennessee Valley Authority has contributed greatly to Knoxville and this entire region. And as president, I will make sure that the TVA tradition of progress and growth continues, and that TVA is responsive to the needs of all the people of this region.
On the platform with the presidential candidate were most of the state's top Republicans, including the governor, Republican National Chairman Bill Brock, and in the crowd, some non-Reagan supporters. In his speech, he left the text and responded to some hecklers shouting equal rights for women.
I happen to disagree with the amendment for the simple reason that I believe the amendment will take out of the hands of elected representatives the problems of discrimination and put them in the hands of the courts. Thank you very much. Thank you.
What'd you think about the speech?
Oh, I think it's dynamite. He was really something. I think he's going to be the next president.
That was Tom Buckley reporting. In 1980, Reagan, of course, was elected. He took Tennessee, won over Jimmy Carter. The Equal Rights Amendment never got the 38 states it needed for ratification, and it expired in 1982. How about that? A little history.
That was great, actually, to see Reagan again.
Sure. Well, the new college football polls are out. Find out where the Vols ranked. And a former Vol finds his way to the end zone today. Scott Finley has the highlights later in sports.
Plus, the gang from Disney was in town this weekend celebrating 75 years. And check it out, they're wearing skates.
6 Eyewitness News continues with Brennan Robinson and Yvette Martinez.
Yikes. The latest in a long line of teen slasher films slashed its way to the top of the box office. The movie is set at a college where film students learn firsthand about the cliches in scary movies.
Urban Legend's Final Cut makes the list of top 3. A re-release of The Exorcist pulled in $8.5 million. That's followed by the rock and roll drama Almost Famous. Also this weekend, Disney brought in their big screen favorites to Knoxville.
Yeah, all your favorites, or your kids' favorites, they were all there. Disney celebrating 75 years of entertaining kids and parents. On tour 3 days in Knoxville. I don't know what character that is. Who is that? There's Elves, perhaps. It's one of the shows I didn't see, but maybe your kids did. And this was the last night you could see the Disney stars. There they are at the Civic Coliseum.
It's Mulan.
Mulan? Oh, sorry. My 15-month-old is not quite old enough for Disney films just yet.
And in sports, a nasty game today in the NFL.
Yeah, Cowboys putting up their dukes.
Well, you know, when somebody comes over your house and tries to take it over and starts rearranging the furniture and stuff, you're going to put up your dukes, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Aren't you, Brennan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look out.
I'd like to see that sometime. The Titans, we'll take it down to Big D, and the Titans finding another way to make a game interesting, and with an interesting hero, too. Steve McNair injured, but coming in to save the day. Back with the stuff in a minute. Formula 1 racers, the U.S. Grand Prix going backwards on the track in Indianapolis, and the inaugural race won by the guy who dominates that circuit, Michael Schumacher, making history at Indy, winning the first F1 race there, the U.S. Grand Prix. So the Brickyards hosted everything, NASCAR races and, of course, the Indy cars, and now the Formula One. So that's a historic place, just adding more history.
They do it all. Thank you, Scott. Still ahead, if you're an animal lover, you probably pamper the pooch.
But is a doggy fashion show a little much? The story is next.
You've heard of dog beds, decorative dog collars. How about dog clothing?
Then you can see all of that in Denver, Colorado, where dogs are dressed in everything from homemade sweaters to old-fashioned Letterman jackets. The Hilltop Dog Show gave owners the chance to get fashionably creative with their four-legged best friends. Money raised from this weekend's event will go to charity.
That dog was naked.
My dogs, there could be a contest how quick they get that stuff off after you put it on.
Definitely.
They just get it off really quick.
I'm comfy.
Dogs will need umbrellas tomorrow as well as people. Good chance of some showers and some thunderstorms, but the rest of the week we've got some beautiful fall-like weather coming up. But we need the rain, and we'll get some tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, Bob. And thank you for counting on 6 Eyewitness News.
The news continues at 5:30 with Good Morning Tennessee. George Michael's Sports Machine is next. Have a great night.